So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, brought to you today by Amazon.com. When you visit MrMedia.com and click on any of the links to purchase books, music, movies, gift certificates, or anything else through our Amazon link, you support this free video podcast. Whenever you need something else from Amazon, please consider returning to MrMedia.com to order it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and we sure appreciate the support. And don't forget, MrMedia.com has more than 1,200 celebrity audio and video interviews archived on the site. That's hundreds upon hundreds of hours free entertainment. Subscribe for free on MrMedia.com, and you'll instantly get an email every time a new interview is posted. You can also watch and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, the Realm Network, and Frequency.com. And if you prefer to just listen, Mr. Media is also available for free on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Blueberry, TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, Podfeed.net, and Player FM. You can subscribe to any of those services and never miss another episode. Finally, you can interact with Mr. Media Interviews on all kinds of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. Friend or follow us, we'll friend or follow you back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Do you can you point to a particular incident being that, big break, that big moment that kind of changed the course of, where your career was going to go?
I can't tell you one moment that changed my career. I can tell you a lot of little moments. And most people I know that have had any type of success that are my friends, probably it's the same journey. It's not one moment. It is life. It is a journey. And as a musician, just when you think, hey, I've kind of made it. Look at me, I've got a great gig. Then, maybe for the next couple months, no one calls you for something and you think, oh, I haven't made it. Oh, this isn't so good, But then the next thing will come along, hey, this is great. I went through a lot of that early on. I moved out to LA, and it's tough to kind of take over the music industry in LA when you're new. No one would hire me. They had their cats that they were hiring, so I started playing on the street, and I played and put my case out, and I got to say that snowballed for me into a lot of different shows. An incredible jazz pianist, Bobby Lyle, walked by when I was playing on the street at one point and just stopped and listened for a while, and he said, wow, I should hire you. I should hire you for my band. He sure enough did. He took me on the road and used me on his next record, and that let me meet people. That allowed me to kind of branch out and learn. And I got to say, that was one of the things that was a turning point in my career. But there have been many. And in between those great things, going on the road with Adam Sandler and making a record with him. Then there were a couple months of me not working and thinking, oh, maybe this was just a one-time thing. What's going to happen? But just when I thought I was going to have to, who knows, go get a real job, the Backstreet Boys called, and I was on the road for the next year and a half with them, So, yeah, I think it's a journey. It's many things that have brought me to this point. Many people I have to thank for giving me a chance. Many people I have to look back and go, they helped me. That was a defining moment,
And did I also read that you had played, was it on tour or in studio with Duran Duran?
Yeah, I did the Come Back to America tour a few years ago when they reunited, the whole band with all the original members. And it was phenomenal. What an amazing band. I'm such a fan. But I've been friends with John Taylor, the bass player for Duran Duran, for many years. And he's been a part of my music and my records, which he's unbelievable. Just his writing, his musicality, just where he feels music. I'm honored anytime I get to make music with him. So for most of my records, you'll see a song that John Taylor wrote with me.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, my first record, it just happens that way. He co-wrote the title track with me and played on it. And then I needed background vocals. I did a cover of Save Tonight. Save Tonight. I said, I need like one other voice. I don't need it to be a section or a choir. So he goes, well, let me try it. So he went back in and sang. So it's him that you hear on the record. And yeah, he's done a lot with me. FLA Swing on my Lifeless Ordinary CD, played and wrote that with me.
Oh. Well, sometime off air, I will have to, and when my daughter is not lurking about, I will have to tell you my John Taylor story, which is only incidentally a John Taylor story, but it involves him. And it was after they made their first U.S. tour, and they played Lakeland, which I'm sure you know, the old Lakeland Civic Center. But I'll have to tell you that off air. I can't tell that on air.
I got a few of those stories too about different people. Yeah.
Well, we can share those.
You just can't tell on air. What happens on the road stays on the road.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned in the opening to the show kiddingly about Clarence Clemens and David Sanborn, Coltrane. Whose style, other than your dad, obviously, has influenced you over the years in terms of the way you play or the way you want to play or be heard?
Yeah. I've always liked those sax players that had, a big sound and a lot of soul. I never wanted to be the bebop person flying through a bunch of scales and notes, and that was never my intention. I liked the Clarence Clemens of the world. I loved Maceo with James Brown's band.
Of course.
I mean, he could make you just groove on one note, just bounce around one note, and you were his. Junior Walker, I always wanted to dance when I heard him play. Just such a big sound, and just made me smile every time I heard him play. Of the jazz guys, I'm a huge Cannonball Adderley fan. Mm-hmm. I think his approach is incredible. He was enough of the jazz Charlie Parker kind of, influence, but he had that Earl Bostic and real R&B sensibility to him that it was just a lot of soul you heard come through that horn. Big sound. Wayne Shorter was a huge influence on me. I loved the fact that he didn't play licks. He was just a very, he was a very linear player. You could almost see shapes for me in what he was playing. I could just kind of follow these shapes that he was making with his saxophone. It's beautiful when he plays. So, and you mentioned David Sanborn, which he kind of brought it all together for me. I had heard different people play, but I was kind of a rocker girl when I was a kid and listened to a lot of rock, pop radio. Mm-hmm. But I played saxophone in the school band, and then I heard David Sanborn, and he kind of brought those two worlds together. I mean, his music completely rocked for me, like the pop and rock bands that were out there, but he was playing saxophone, and he was screaming on it like Tina Turner was singing. So I couldn't sing like Tina Turner, so shoot, I was going to play sax like she sang, or scream like I heard James Brown screaming. I could do it on sax, and David Sanborn was the first person who tipped me off to the fact that, sax can be that. It's a huge voice, So he was a huge influence, and I've been lucky enough to meet him and play with him in the past, and it was just such an honor. I'm a huge fan.